Hey, this is the Recklessly Skeptical Podcast. My name is Joe.
My name's Matt.
And this is Josh.
You can find this podcast on Spreaker and YouTube, Recklessly Skeptical. You can also find our individual channels on YouTube. That's The Evil Atheists and ZZZ Giant Awake. Also, come to our Facebook group page, The Evil Atheists, for debauchery and fun.
Sweet. Now let's get this ball on the road, moving along, shit like that.
Let's do it. So, today is April 10th, 2016. It's the second half of our podcast, and we feel like opening it with another quote from Richard Dawkins. Mm-hmm. This comes from The God Delusion. Great book. Go read it. If you haven't read it, you're missing out. Quote, "There is something infantile in the presumption that somebody else has a responsibility to give your life meaning and point. The truly adult view, by contrast, is that our life is as meaningful, as full, and as wonderful as we choose to make it." End quote.
Good quote.
I love it.
Good quote. And I do have one more short quote that should make you guys laugh.
Okay.
I hope so. You better fucking laugh. So, Richard Dawkins was quoting somebody from a former editor of New Scientist magazine, and this person is yet to be identified. They're not sure who he was quoting, but the quote is, "Science is interesting, and if you don't agree, you can fuck off."
I really like that quote.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I thought I was going to have to fake laugh, but I actually really laughed. All right, so let's talk about Trump and how his odds are shrinking.
Yay!
So Trump yesterday, there was Colorado where they kind of Colorado really decided who was going to win, and Trump got shut out. Out of the 25 delegates, he's getting 0.
Good.
That means Ted Cruz is getting all of them.
That's scary, though, too.
That's bad, too.
I don't know how I feel about the GOP. Like, Trump or Cruz, they both scare the fuck out of me.
I'll shoot myself
reasons.
in the face for both.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both really, really bad. I almost still am leaning towards Trump over Cruz. And honestly, we should probably be wanting Trump to win if we want to guarantee that either Hillary or Bernie get it. Obviously, we'd rather have Bernie, though.
Yeah, no, I don't want Hillary. Bernie or bust, sorry.
Yeah, and I understand that. So his odds are shrinking. He's now down to 92% of the electorate. He needs, or 92, which would be half of that, 47%. If he drops below 40%, or 45%, he's essentially, it's going to be a contested convention, and we're going to have that, and that's still really likely right now. The one thing that does help him a lot is Ted Cruz, the dumbass that Ted Cruz is, in a debate said, well, you have New York values, and so the next day there were a lot of publications that released covers saying, fuck you, Ted Cruz. Like, one of them literally had somebody flip the Statue of Liberty flipping off Ted Cruz. So Ted Cruz has a lower count than Kasich currently in the polls, where he's at like 15% and Kasich's at 20%, and Trump comes out with 54%.
And that's New York specifically, correct?
Yeah, New York specifically, yes. So New York happens a week from Tuesday for both the GOP and the Democratic race. Very likely Trump will pick up a large number of delegates, and that might correct him and even put him where he should be if he was going to win the nomination. If Kasich or Cruz combined are able to crack 50, that will really hurt the amount of delegates that he gets. But right now, it looks like he's solidly going to end up with more than 50% of the GOP vote in New York. Mm-hmm. On the other side, Hillary's beating Bernie Sanders. The two most recent polls were 16% and 14% reverse. So it looks like Hillary is going to walk away with the win there, even if Bernie were to close a point a day. New York.
She's got him beat by 14 points.
I mean, my prediction is that she beats him by 8, but any loss now at this point with the delegate counts is huge. Like, if he doesn't win by 1 to 2% in New York, he's in a lot of trouble.
Well, Bernie is beating Hillary now nationally in the polls.
By 1%, but unfortunately, those polls still use states that have gone, like they just
they've already voted. Yeah.
And the poll I'm looking at nationally, Clinton's beating Sanders by 1 point.
Yeah. So I mean,
And that's all within the margin of error. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what's the margin of error? It depends on the poll, but
yeah.
it's usually around 3%,
yeah,
right?
Typically, on a national poll, they get it down to 3%. So I mean, they're statistically tied, but unfortunately, half the country decided a month ago, and Hillary got a huge delegate lead to start off with.
I don't know. I think Bernie's gonna win New York. I really do.
I hope so. And that's all I can say. With it being closed as early as it was to register to vote, that really fucks up any chance that Bernie has of a swelling of young people or unlikely voters to come in or independents to come in and save the day. It's really going to be down to Democrats. And Democrats, hardcore Democrats, have been voting 60-40 in favor of Hillary because she's had her channels through the Democratic Party for a long ass time, since before Bill Clinton, or else Bill Clinton couldn't have become president when he did.
We need to figure out a way to make it nationally that primaries, caucuses are open.
Yeah.
That needs to happen. Independent votes matter. When the majority of voters in America are independents, they should have a voice in those primaries, and the two major parties are having their primaries.
Well, it's for the people, by the people.
The
And if
independents
the people
should
are
have a vote.
independents- Yeah, exactly. They should be able to vote.
Yeah.
If it's for the people, by the people, and the majority of Americans are independents, then they should vote because they're the people.
Yeah, so Hillary Clinton said the other day, and I'm going to quote her directly. Let me quickly grab
That's why that saber.
Oh, not that one.
She says a lot of stupid shit.
Yeah, let me find the quote. She said, see? That's what she said. So she used a noise-blocking machine at one of her rallies, and it wasn't a rally like an open rally. It was a fundraiser in Colorado, and this is...
At a private home.
Yeah, well, there was a pen for the people who were interested, so all of the journalists were in that pen, and that's what they could hear, because she apparently didn't want what she was saying to those people to be public knowledge. And, she does all this shady shit.
She's such a fucking snake, dude.
Yeah, she does all this shady shit, and we just tolerate it. In general, people they're like, whatever. I mean, the GOP side, the red side, doesn't tolerate it. They all want her crucified, apparently. But us on the Democratic side, we just seem to tolerate this.
But you know what bothers me? The only reason the people on the right, the Republican side, want her crucified is just because she's a Democrat. They don't fucking care that she's a snake. You know
what?
There's plenty of fucking snakes over on their side, too. And they don't fucking give a shit. And that's the thing about most of us independents. I'm an independent, and I registered as a Democrat just to vote for Bernie. I don't fucking give a shit about Hillary. Fuck her. If she gets the nomination, I ain't voting for her. Fuck her. She's another fucking snake, just like most of these GOP candidates.
Yeah, but it's easier to see the fault in others. And so I think that the Republicans do see her as a snake because they're able to take off their blinders and actually see her for the bullshit that she does. And also the talking heads, the pundits, the Rush Limbaughs and Sean Hannity's are doing essentially been doing a hit job on the Clinton name for a long ass time.
Yeah.
And so anytime she does something that's dishonest or seemingly dishonest, then they call it out, unless it has to do with banks or money in politics, of course.
But you know what's funny? Her voting record looks very Republican.
Yeah, on those topics.
Yeah, she wasn't for gay marriage till 2013.
3 years ago.
Yeah. But we are, due to time, we're going to move forward. So since we're talking about the Republicans having a very likely contested convention.
Which is very Democratic.
Yeah, I mean... It sucks. We need to get rid of the whole delegate system. It's such bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
Our voting system needs to be fucking revamped. It needs to be
a popular vote, straightforward.
Yeah,
popular
straight
vote.
up.
But so the delegates are going to meet, and the delegates are real people. We've talked about this on this channel before, and we've talked about it on my channel before, so I'm not going to rehash it in too much depth. But all of the delegates are life and blood people who were selected at the delegate selection process in each state are going to show up to a national convention in Ohio. What's likely to happen is you need to have more than 50% of the delegates in order to win on the first ballot. On the second ballot, some of them become loosened. By the third ballot, they're all free to do whatever. A lot of names are being floated, and namely those are Trump, Kasich, Cruz, and there's another guy who the Koch brothers have been in favor of, and who a lot of establishment people are in favor of, because Kasich is unfortunate for him, not popular enough to win 7 states, and I know that Cruz is trying to bar him. And if Cruz successfully bars Kasich from that, then he can also bar any other nominee. Like if they decided to run, what's that Mormon's name who ran last
Mitt
time?
Romney.
Yeah, if they tried to run Mitt Romney, he'd be blocked. But the Rules Committee meets prior to that, but after New York and also after April 26th. So there's a lot of things that are going to happen between now and when the Rules Committee decides to meet and make up their rules. One name that's being floated a lot, and this is a guy who's been hesitant to take any position publicly, but has taken it every time, is Paul Ryan. So Paul Ryan said that he's not going to, or that he thinks that who should be the presidential nominee should be someone who's ran, and that he's not going to run. He said that about a month ago. About a week ago, he released an advertisement, which I want to play for you guys now.
What really bothers me the most of politics these days is this notion of identity politics, that we're going to win an election by dividing people, rather than inspiring people on our common humanity and our common ideals and our common culture, on the things that should unify us. We all want to be prosperous. We all want to be healthy. We want everybody to succeed. We want people to reach their potential in their lives. Now, liberals and conservatives are going to disagree with one another on that. No problem. That's what this is all about. So let's have a battle of ideas. Let's have a contest of whose ideas are better and why our ideas are better.
That's so easy coming from somebody who's already established and has money and doesn't have to worry about fucking putting food on the goddamn table. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he's so the website that he also posted at the end is speaker.gov /confident America. What he wants to do, essentially, it seems like people are trying to float him out to get his name in the ballot on the second ballot. So we'll see if that happens. But it's something to keep in mind, because I don't think that the Koch brothers and all of their networks, which is the biggest network of money in politics, are that excited to have Cruz or Trump be the selection.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy for him to say. There's not really much there to chew on as far as the advertisement goes, but it seems like that name will creep in, and that's someone who may... so I think there's really, when we consider who might win the GOP, we have to consider all 4 people.
Considering what he said in that ad, I would agree with everything he said. You know, and my point is that's how vague it was, and at the same time, I hope that he is sincere with the things he said, because to me it sounds like he's calling out Trump, and we like you said, we're going to disagree on things, so I hope he's being honest, and we can talk about those and see which ones are better, and if he's being sincere, which I doubt he is, I would agree with him.
Yeah, he's not being sincere.
Yeah, I doubt it. But with what he said, it being so vague, I would agree with everything he said.
Yeah, we got to make a better America. See, that's yeah. So he essentially is going to be the idea, or going to kind of run loosely on the idea of uniting the GOP. And that's something that a lot of people 8 months into a campaign, including Trump, are going to be interested in hearing. Also, a lot of people like Paul Ryan, and there's no way that he gets nominated and he doesn't accept it.
The same thing happened when he accepted to be the Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
I remember him saying he didn't want it, but everybody was saying, you need to do this, and now he's the Speaker.
Yep, and we'll see if that's the way they go. Because I still don't know how they don't. And if I was Paul Ryan, I probably would decline it. Because, really, you're looking at a year where you have almost no chance of winning. Like, if you go into a contested convention and Trump doesn't win, when Trump is winning the delegate count by a decent margin, there's just no way that you can come out as a viable candidate. And Trump's not a viable candidate, so the GOP is fucked. Like, there's no way the GOP is going to win this year unless enough people say, fuck Hillary, I'd rather vote for Trump than Hillary.
What is it when, like, there's a a football team and they bring in some guy who's really good who pretends like he's on the team. What is the name? That's how I feel. What
Pitch hitter?
Well, no, not a pitch hitter, but it's like some dude who probably shouldn't be on the team. He's a professional, and this team isn't very good, and they bring him in just to have the team do good, because that's how I feel like Paul Ryan is. Like the establishment wants their guy in there.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's enough to talk about this for now. But just be aware that it's something worth talking about in the future. So yeah, let's move ahead to the secular story.
All right, so the secular story is being reported by Pathos. Oklahoma is a step closer to putting an illegal Ten Commandments monument on Capitol grounds. And if you guys remember, a while back, they already had the Ten Commandments on their Capitol grounds.
And they were forced to remove them, right?
The state Supreme Court ruled that it was unconstitutional. So, last month, the Oklahoma State Senate approved a ballot measure that would allow citizens to vote on whether or not to put a Ten Commandments monument on the Capitol grounds. It was a new way to get the monument back on government grounds after the previous one was declared illegal by the state Supreme Court. This particular ballot measure, Senate Joint Resolution 72, would repeal the part of the state constitution preventing public money from being used for religious purposes.
Oh, what?
Yes. Yesterday, the House Rules Committee unanimously approved the same measure. It will now be sent to the entire House for a vote. The legislation is right on track for approval by the governor and voters, but keep in mind that even if it goes on the ballot and voters choose to bring the monument back on Capitol grounds, we'd be right back to square one. Church-state separation grounds could sue based on what the U.S. Constitution says. And groups like the Satanic Temple, and I will applaud them, would almost immediately file applications to place their own monument in the same general location. And this article ends quite nicely with this statement. It's a train wreck waiting to happen.
Good.
Yeah, what a waste of time and money, because
Yes.
it's still unconstitutional for the same reason that law that they have on the books is just essentially it's just a buffer. I mean, all it was a secondary thing saying, hey, yeah, we're recognizing the First Amendment.
We could be going after real issues, like Bernie Sanders says when he's being interviewed by the media. It's like, so Trump said this about this person, how do you feel? And Bernie's like, there's people sleeping on the fucking streets, We need to worry about the real issues. I don't fucking care about this media drama bullshit. Let's worry about the real issues. Like, they're wasting so much money fucking playing this cat and mouse game with their stupid fucking Ten Commandments when they could. I imagine there's plenty of problems. Where is this, Oklahoma?
Yes.
I imagine there's plenty of problems there that they need to be looking at. But instead, they're fucking fighting over stupid shit like this.
And most of the Ten Commandments aren't even laws.
Yeah,
most of them are
they're
bullshit.
Stupid. They're fucking stupid.
Well,
We've read them before on the podcast. They're fucking dumb. Thou shalt not stick a finger up in that light socket because you will be burnt and you're dumb. It's like, yeah, everybody knows that. It's common sense.
Yeah.
And then there's...
Well, some of them aren't. They're like
some of them are real vague and stupid.
Well, yeah, believing have no other God before me, blah, blah, blah.
Which goes directly against the First Amendment.
Yeah, no shit, right?
So, we're going to move forward because of time, but we have one last thing to say to the Oklahoma legislator.
Get your shit together. Get it all together and put it in a backpack. All your shit. So it's together. And if you got to take it somewhere, take it somewhere, Take it to the shit store and sell it.
Take it to the
put it in
shit
a
store.
Shit museum. I don't care what you do. You just got to get it together. Get your shit together.
I like the shit museum. Take it to the shit museum.
Yeah.
You know what that reminds me of is it reminds me, I don't know if you guys ever watch Trailer Park Boys. And,
yeah.
And Officer Leahy, he's always like, you fucking shit tards and you little shit. Like, he just, I don't know, everything is shit storms and shit this and shit that.
Yeah. So, let's move forward to North Korea.
North Korea.
North Korea.
So we rarely ever talk about international politics because there's not a lot we can do about it, and it's not typically this important. But North Korea claims successful test of ICBM, which is an intercontinental ballistic missile. Essentially, it's a rocket that can deliver whatever payload they want to internationally, which they're claiming is a step towards being able to bomb the United States directly with a nuclear weapon.
Yes, the KCNA news agency said the new type of engine would guarantee the ability to launch a nuclear strike on the U.S. mainland.
Yeah, and this is important not because I think that Kim Jong-un is going to be able to hit us, but this is something that's more scary and more troublesome in my mind, is that you can essentially throw off our satellites by shooting it into the air, and we wouldn't have a chance to respond. So while he wouldn't effectively be able to strike the United States directly, you could sure as fuck do a lot of damage by blasting one of those off in the air and directly above North Korea and knock out a lot of satellites, probably including our GPS, which we use for a lot of different reasons, including keeping the time.
I have a quote from Mr. Kim.
Sure.
He said, the country would now be able to, quote, keep any cesspool of evils in the earth, including the U.S. mainland, within our striking range. And, you know, I am not for Korea in any sense, but at the same time, I'm not really for the U.S. and our foreign policy. I think shit we do all over the world is fucking evil.
Well,
but
it is because our government and people are trying to make money. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good. But the shit that Korea does to their own people is equally or more so evil.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's bullshit all the way around.
I
way
agree.
around.
I agree 100%.
So we have an actual disagreement there. I think our foreign policy in regards to South Korea and North Korea is actually really on point.
Well,
yes,
that's about
this.
it. But what
Yes.
what other foreign policy do you agree with?
Kim Jong-un is only talking about the U.S. is being evil as a propaganda piece to try and make sure
Yes.
that his people
But-
believe that. Like, let me just talk about North Korea propaganda for half a second. Is that they make it so that it sounds like Kim Jong-un and Kim Jong-il are unable to be killed until they die of old age. Like,
Yes,
they're
they're
immortal.
gods.
Yeah. Oh no, I've seen.
They've also talked about or brainwashed their people into believing that if you walk on South Korean soil, your skin will burn off.
Yeah.
Like, this is the type of propaganda that they do. They have a major food crisis, and while they have a major food crisis, Kim Jong-un is building a Kim Jong-un themed theme park. So he's also living it up. He has imports of cars and high-end wines and high-end liquors and all these types of
Sounds
things.
just like the American government.
No, we're not starving to death. Like,
We have the highest rate of childhood poverty than any country in the fucking world.
No,
And yet-
industrialized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then we let these fucking motherfuckers take tax breaks and the Panama Papers. Oh, they're taking their money off, and they're not paying any fucking taxes. Do you know how much fucking money they have stashed away in Panama that could go towards taxes?
But-
it's in the trillions, dude.
But, okay, so I understand. I'm frustrated about money and how it's going to. I'm frustrated about being or having a lower class that makes nothing, and that the top 10 people in the country make more than the lower half of the country.
And I
Now-
just want to point out that some of these people with money in these offshore accounts that aren't paying any taxes asked for fucking the bailout and got
Sure.
bailout money that we
Sure.
had to pay to them.
But the United States government is not putting us in the equivalent of concentration camps.
True. Are you sure?
I'm not. That question does not dignify a response.
Okay.
We're not captured in our own territory. We can go to different countries. Like,
So,
with
what-
all the
hold
money
on.
we make?
So my point here is, okay, what North Korea does to their people is way worse than what our government does to us. It is.
Yeah, true. I agree.
But,
Okay.
and I agree with you, Josh, that in regards to North and South Korea, the U.S., their positions are correct. I am for that. But with what the U.S. does throughout the rest of the world is fucking bullshit. Especially the Middle East. Yes. Is absolute bullshit. We've killed literally over 200,000 200,000 people in Iraq, and that's fucking bullshit. That's why when Mr. Kim says keep any cesspool of evils in the earth, including the U.S., I kind of fucking agree with him.
But he doesn't give a fuck about the Middle East.
But I know. I think he's just as I think he's worse.
I want to point out that 200,000 doesn't account for afterwards the destabilization of the country and the millions of people who have died since then. But we caused the destabilization in that country. So you say 200,000, the fucking the real number is over 1 million.
Yeah. But what were you, Matt? Finish off
Sorry,
your
yeah,
thoughts.
sorry.
No, that was pretty much it. I think we're all kind of agreeing and disagreeing
At essentially the same points.
at the same points. Yes,
But I just Kim Jong-un is not making any point that's valid in my mind.
yes, I agree.
And so,
Except the U.S. is kind of an evil to the rest of the world.
but
yeah.
that's not how he's meaning it. If
Yes.
that's how he was intending it, if he was saying, look at what they're doing in the Middle East, then I would say, oh, he's got a point. But that's not what
Yes.
he's saying. He's saying,
He's using it.
we're good,
And look what they're doing
and
to
they're
us.
they're bad, and
Yes.
and Japan's bad, and China's okay, and South Korea is evil. Like if you walk on South Korean soil, your flesh will burn off because you're North Korean.
Yes, the propaganda North Korea spreads is insane. And I'm sure you guys need to go on Netflix and watch. There's a few documentaries on there. It's
Yeah.
absolutely insane.
Like
They have fake grocery stores with like fake food in there. So when cameras come in, the few times they've let them in, they're like, "Look at our lavish grocery stores."
and then
it's
people
all
have tried
fake.
to buy. Well, even the grocery stores and stuff that have things. Like another documentary I watched. Well, the people who went in there who were invited into the country were like, well, I would like to buy this. How much is that? Oh, nothing in here is for sale. And it's like, well, then why do you have it? Yeah, North Korea is fucked up. It really is. But all I'm saying is that with our current government in America, we are fucked up too. We're not
Sure.
as bad. We're
Sure.
definitely not as bad, but we're pretty fucking close. It is pretty fucking close to the exact same thing. Yeah, we're not being held in concentration camps like they are in North Korea. We're free to go wherever we want. But how the fuck am I going to go wherever I want with no goddamn money when I'm working 40 plus hours a week, making a decent amount of money, and I still can't afford to fucking go do things? You know what I mean? I'm still being held in my region.
Yeah. So I think we've all made our points, and it's time to move on to another story. The story is another science-based story, and that story is about the Kepler telescope. Do you want to give us a breakdown, Matt?
Yeah, so this is being reported by Huffington Post. NASA's Kepler spacecraft is in emergency mode, 75 million miles from Earth. NASA has declared an emergency after discovering that its planet-hunting Kepler spacecraft, now millions of miles away, is not operating properly. NASA mission operations engineers learned that the spacecraft had switched into emergency mode during scheduled contact on Thursday. The agency announced on Friday, EM, emergency mode, is the lowest operational mode and is fuel-intensive. Recovering from EM, emergency mode, is the team's priority at this time.
Yeah, and what sucks about that is Kepler is the planet finder. Like it's found a planet that scientists have called our cousin, a cousin planet of ours. It's much bigger than ours, but is in the Goldilocks zone and may sustain life. Like this is inhibiting our ability to find possible like missions. Our next form of missions is also, I believe it was way over $100 million to get it up and running. So it sucks that it's at risk.
Yeah, and they continue. Unfortunately, its location, 75 million miles from Earth, is only making the situation more challenging for scientists. The distance makes real-time communication impossible. Even at the speed of light, it takes 13 minutes for a signal to travel to the spacecraft and back, NASA said.
Yeah, so NASA, get your shit together and tie a rope to the shit you put up in outer space.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about on that?
No, I just hope NASA can figure it out.
Cool. Well, just barely running over time. We have only one final story, and that is on Puerto Rico.
So Puerto Rico, this is good news. So the First Circuit Court of Appeals. Whoa! I'm having technical difficulties. The First Circuit Court of Appeals has just handed down a decision overturning a lower court's ruling that had found Puerto Rico's ban on same-sex marriage to be constitutional. So, after the Supreme Court ruled that gay marriage is constitutional, in Puerto Rico, a judge said that their ban on same-sex marriage was constitutional, and his reasoning was because the U.S. territory was not an incorporated territory. The U.S. Constitution was to be applied differently. But now a higher judge has overruled that decision.
Good. That's good news.
And gay marriage is good to go in Puerto Rico. So
Yay!
it finally came to Puerto Rico. So
Yeah.
good job, Judge.
So just a little jargon on that is so Puerto Rico is a territory, and part of becoming a territory is that you recognize our Constitution as part of that, and that you recognize the way we recognize human rights. And he wasn't arguing that they don't recognize the United States Constitution, just that they were trying to recognize it differently. Judge said you can't do that, and that's why now there's gay marriage in all 50 states and the territory of Puerto Rico.
Yep.
That's exciting, man.
Yeah, anytime that there's, I mean, that's something we're celebrating. The reason I got onto YouTube, and you guys may not know this, is the series, which I only did 2 of the 3 parts I was going to do because it was a disaster. But the series is called Gay Marriage in Utah, and I broke down how and why legally we had gay marriage in Utah when the circuit court overturned it.
Yeah.
This was before the Supreme Court overturned it. And then
I remember that.
My prediction was, in the final one, was going to be, hey, we'll have same-sex marriage in the country within a year. And we did, but I didn't put that prediction on tape, so I can't really brag about it. But that was that's the reason why I got on. So this is really exciting and good news.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, maybe you should do the 3rd part and just kind of, I don't know,
Brag about it after the fact?
We'll even just point out why you felt that way.
Yeah,
at least.
And there should be, and I need to start doing. I kind of want to talk more about trans rights because that seems to be where the battles move to.
And bathrooms and
the trans situation and them trying to pass new religious bill. All right, so thank you guys for checking in and joining with us. Be sure to check us out on Recklessly Skeptical on YouTube and Spreaker. You can also find our independent channels, The Evil Atheist with Joe and Matt, as well as ZZZ Giant Awake has got myself. Go to the Evil Atheist Facebook group page, evil in quotations, and atheist is plural.
And Joe's about to pee his pants.
I'm going to pee my pants.
All right.
I love you guys, though.
Yeah, Joe decided that not peeing his pants is worth saying bye.
I'm saying goodbye right now. I love you guys.
Bye, guys.
And until next time, think passionately.
Then I went and got my ass robbed. So all that I got left is that last buck. So what goes around comes around, and it'll come to you, my friend. Love and peace may start to seize me for your ACL. It goes around, comes around, so about game to play. Love and peace may start to seize and never fade away. Just come across a hitchhiker walking down the side of the road. Use your head when you're trying to decide if you want to give this dirty man a ride, 'cause he might want to kill you. What goes around comes around.